Good morning, students. Today, I would like to start my classes with the new name, that is Darwin's classes. And in our next chapter, as presently we would like to discuss for class 10th NCERT chapter number 8, why do organisms reproduce? And after that, the next chapter is heredity and evolution. And regarding evolution, there is a name, that is the Charles Darwin. He has given the theory of evolution. That means how the organism changes right from its initial structure, right from prokaryote to eukaryote. And varieties of organisms is the result of organic evolution. Therefore, I have selected the name in the honor of Charles Darwin as Darwin's classes. So, today let us start the 8th chapter for class 10 science NCERT, that is how do organisms reproduce. And myself, Dr.UKY, PGT Biology at Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Samastipur, Bihar, serving you people since 1997. That means 25 years in your service. So let us explore the things, make the things clear for you people. So let us start today the new chapter, that is how do organisms reproduce. So this is the chapter that how do organisms reproduce. So first of all, let me know that in our previous chapter, that is the life processes, we have dealt regarding nutrition, respiration, circulation, excretion, control and coordination. And all these life processes, they are essential for maintaining life, because for remaining alive, all these life processes are must. If any one of the life processes stops, it is very difficult for an individual to survive. Suppose if heart is not functioning, then what will happen? There will be no pumping of blood. That means no supply of oxygen, no supply of glucose to the cells. And in the absence of oxygen, in the absence of glucose, it is quite impossible for any cell to perform its metabolism, to perform its life activity. As all we know that actually cells are the structural and functional unit of life. Therefore, even in multicellular organism, it is essential that each and every cell must get energy. That means each and every cell must get nutrients, glucose, oxygen. So if there will be a stoppage of the functioning of heart, it will lead to death. If brain is not functioning, that will lead to death. So all the life processes are essential for the survival of an individual, for the survival of organism, and therefore they are termed as life processes. Whereas the reproduction is not essential for any individual to survive, because there are so many organisms, or even in case of human being, there are so many persons around you, around the world. You can see that they have enjoyed their life. Even then, they have not participated in the process of reproduction. The great personalities like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, they have not got married and they didn't participate in the act of reproduction. But his life was quite well, quite fine. Then why there is need of reproduction. Then the questions comes in mind. Then the process of reproduction is really complex process, especially in case of sexual reproduction. There is production of gamete, there is transfer of gamete, then union of gamete, means fertilization and embryonic development. All these processes require energy. That means energy exhausting process. The reproduction is complex process, energy exhausting process. Then why it is essential, why it is needed? So the question comes first of all that why? For what purpose? Reproduction. Why do organisms reproduce? First of all, it is how do organisms reproduce? But the question comes, why do organisms reproduce? So the first question arises that what is the need of reproduction? Why? Why do organisms reproduce? Why do they prepare their multiple copy similar to them? So first of all, let us consider that this earth, it is being considered as nothing is immortal. On this earth, nothing is immortal. That means every individual, every organism having its lifespan. And lifespan is the period from birth to death. That means every individual which has taken birth, a time will come when they will die. And that time period is termed as lifespan. That means after the spending of a lifespan, the organism will die. And it is essential for the continuity of nutrients. That means the biogeochemical cycle. Death is also essential and death is inevitable. Therefore, for replacing the organism which has gone, which has died, it is essential to maintain the continuity of race. It is not essential for individual. It is not essential for any individual. It is essential for continuity of the race, for maintaining population. Otherwise, what will happen? Suppose population is there and there is no reproduction. There is no further increase in the number of that particular species. Then what will happen? A time will come when these organisms will start dying. And finally, what will happen? A time will come when there will be no population of that particular species. That means there will be no continuity of that particular species, and that will lead to extinction of that particular species. And if the species are being extinct, then the biodiversity will be lost. And the beauty of this earth lies in biodiversity. It is assumed that from other planet, if anyone visualize earth, then the first thing that will be the miracle and that will be the biodiversity. जब दूसरे ग्रहों से पृथ्वी को देखी जाएगी तो यहाँ की जो बायोडाइवर्सिटी है, जो वेराइटीज ऑफ ऑर्गेनिज्म है, वेराइटीज ऑफ प्लांट है, वेराइटीज ऑफ एनिमल्स है, दिस इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ दिस अर्थ. So for maintaining this biodiversity, for maintaining the population, reproduction is must. Reproduction is essential. It is not life process as we have discussed earlier, like respiration, nutrition, circulation, excretion, control and coordination. Reproduction is not life process. It is not essential for an individual. It is not essential for survival of a particular organism, of a particular member of that species. It is energy expensive process. Energy is required, energy is needed for reproducing an organism. Sufficient amount of energy is required, energy is needed, otherwise there will be no formation of new cells. During reproduction, what will happen? There will be production of new cells. There will be formation of new cells. And formation of new cells, it requires For a particular cell, the limiting membrane, the cell membrane is needed, and cell membrane is made up of lipoprotein. Lipid and proteins are essential. Therefore, during reproduction, there will be need of protein, there will be need of lipids, fats. और इसीलिए कहा गया है कि जो प्रेग्नेंट लेडी है, प्रेग्नेंट मदर है, जिसके यूट्रस में क्या हो रहा है, एम्ब्रियोनिक डेवलपमेंट हो रही है, they must be given sufficient amount of proteinaceous diet. That means the diet, the nutrition will depend upon the age, will depend upon the sex, will depend upon the condition. While we are recovering from disease, there is need of more amount of energy. During pregnancy, during lactating period, there is more need of the amount of protein, so that it will be utilized for the formation of new cells of the developing embryo. The protein is needed for lactating mother because she is feeding her child. So that protein will be given through their milk to the infant, to the newborn baby. So it is energy expensive process. Then the question comes, why it should be there? Why there is wastage of energy? So it is meant not for an individual, rather it is meant for a species. It is meant for population. Reproduction is essential for the continuity of race. If there will be no reproduction, there will be no continuity. And any species do not want to be extinct. कोई भी नहीं चाहेगा कि हमारे बाद हमारी अगली पीढ़ी नहीं आए. कई बार सोसाइटी में देखते होंगे, some of the family, some of the partners, some of the couples, they are infertile, they are not bearing the child, and it is really a very, very painful thing for whole life, for that pair, for that couple. Nowadays, there are so many methods, medical sciences has developed so many methods that will be dealt in higher classes, that it can be removed. But still, the persons who are not having their own child, they are having a great grief in their life. That means it is an important part of an individual, of an organism, to produce like one before they die. कि हम अपने लिए, अपने जैसा, अपनी वारिस बना के जाए, हम जब इस धरती पे हैं, उसके बाद इस कंटिन्यूटी को मेंटेन करने के लिए. सो reproduction is needed for the continuity of race, for the continuity of species. So these are the reasons why an organism reproduces. It provides group immortality. That means the individual die, but the group, the population is maintaining. So it provides group immortality by replacing the dead individuals with new one for the survival of the species on this earth, for continuity, for maintaining that species. So it is essential not for individual, rather it is essential for species. It is essential for population. It is not essential for individual. It is needed for multiplication and perpetuation of the species. Multiplication, that means they will show their number. If the number is very few, that means due to certain natural calamities or due to some diseases, due to some reason, if the number is very few, then there may be chances that any time they can disappear, they can vanish. So, for multiplication and perpetuation, continuity of the species. Again, organisms are noticeable because of reproduction. If there will be no reproduction, then what will happen? Their number will remain constant, and sometimes due to natural calamity, sometimes due to disease, due to epidemic, due to certain reasons like volcanic eruption, earthquake, flood, there may be damage of particular population. Then it is reproduction that again brings the number at manageable level, or it can be seen, it can be visualized. We have heard the term Project Tiger. The term Project Tiger. So this Project Tiger is meant for increasing the number of tigers, as due to over exploitation, due to hunting, the number of tigers were reduced, very few. It was challenging task before the government to increase the number of tiger. Otherwise, in absence of tiger, there will be disturbance in the food chain, in the ecosystem, and that will lead to the consequences that may lead to danger on the survival of many species, because in ecosystem different organisms are interlinked. Different organisms make a food chain, make a food web, where it is being decided that who will eat whom, who is being eaten by whom. So all these things will run smoothly when all the individuals, all the organisms are at a handsome number. If the number of any organism decreases, that will be a matter of concern, because it will lead to destruction in the ecosystem. Therefore, it is Project Tiger to increase the number of tigers. That means the tiger were provided safety and hunting is completely prohibited. So, overall, reproduction is the essence of life. Reproduction is essential for any organism, whether it is plant or animal, whether it is unicellular or multicellular, whether it is prokaryotic or eukaryotic. That means reproduction is one of the essential things in the living world to maintain this world alive. As all the organisms, each and every organism, they are having a certain lifetime, and that is termed as lifespan, the period, the time from birth to death, the time from birth to death. So this period is termed as lifespan. So each and every individual having certain lifespan, that means after lapses of that time it is to die. इसीलिए इस पर पृथ्वी को कहा गया है, ये पृथ्वी क्या है? मृत्यु लोक है। ये पृथ्वी क्या है? मृत्यु लोक है। जिसको भी जीवन मिला है, एक दिन क्या हो रहा है? मृत्यु को प्राप्त होगा। तो जब मृत्यु को प्राप्त होगा, डेथ होगी, तो रिप्लेस करने के लिए नए इंडिविजुअल की जरूरत होगी। In a better way, we must define the term reproduction. Reproduction is the production of new generation. Production of new generation. That means जो नए बनेंगे वो क्या होंगे? उसकी अगली पीढ़ी होगी, नया जनरेशन होगा of the same species. Same species means the cow are going to produce cow, the goat is going to produce goat, the dog is going to produce dog. That means they are creating new generation of the same species that are physically independent of their parent. That means they will exist freely on this earth. So this is the reproduction. Now the term species, we have repeatedly used the term species. Then what this species means? In class 9 we have dealt diversity in living world. Species is very basic term which we have used time and again. So during diversity we are classifying organism. We are dividing organism into group, and that group is on the basis of their similarity. That group is on the basis of their differences. That means in larger group there are organisms, they are having common characteristics. Out of that larger group we are making a smaller group in which most common characteristics are there among those groups. So it is the hierarchy in case of classification, that while we are going from top to bottom, then what happens? The similarity increases and differences decreases, and while going from bottom to top, differences increases and similarity decreases. So in biodiversity we have different hierarchy like kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So these are the 7 group, they are termed as taxon, and therefore it is taxonomy. So a species means it is a unit in case of classification, and a species, suppose dog is a species, cat a species, cow a species. So in cow there may be varieties of breeds, but they all are cow, they all are dog. So a species is defined as a group of organisms, whether it is plant or animal, that are similar to each other. That is, they are sharing common characteristics among themselves and can interbreed among themselves. They are interbreeding, that means cow will interbreed with cow only. So each species are interbreeding to produce fertile offspring for continuity of race. These are the hierarchy in classifying an organism. So this is the larger group, that is kingdom, and there are 5 kingdoms. In each kingdom there will be different phylum. Each phylum will have different classes, and each class having different orders. And order is comprising of different families, and family comprising of various genus, and in a genus there are species. So in classification, a species may be considered as a unit. A species may be considered as a smallest unit of classification, and for ecosystem, for ecology, it is also an initial point. From here we start. That means a species of particular area, the total number of species of particular area at particular time, that constitute the population. And in a particular area at particular time, different species means different populations of living beings, they are interacting with each other and they lead to the formation of communities. And these communities are interacting with their physical environment, and that lead to the formation of ecosystem. So this is all about why do organisms reproduce. So in our next class we will deal what are the processes, or whether the organisms reproducing the offspring they are formed, whether they are exactly कॉपी ऑफ देयर पेरेंट. तो आज के लिए इतना ही, मिलते हैं हम फिर नेक्स्ट क्लासेस में. Now it is the turn for giving thanks to all our viewers who has commented nicely. It is Archana Kumari Arpan. Very nice, excellent class, sir. Thank you very much, madam, for your cooperation and giving me the inspiration. IIT aspirants, nice sir. Thank you IIT aspirant. Kunal entertain, nice sir. Thank you Kunal ji for commenting. Again Archana Kumari Arpan, very nice, excellent. Thank you once and again to all my viewers who has commented, who has shared. And now I would like to invite all you in our new classes, that is Darwin's classes. So welcome you all. Like, share and comment. Comment is essential so that I can improve, and improvement is needed to make the things very clear, crystal clear to our learned colleagues, to our friends, to our students. So freely you comment, not only positively, rather comment negatively. What are the drawbacks? That is to be removed, and gradually we would prosper, we will progress towards the excellency. Thanks one and all.